Cashflow Pro offers free money management advice to help you take control of your finances. And now here's your host, personal finance enthusiast and licensed insurance broker, James Barber.
Hey, poker, how's it going? How's it going? Welcome to Oregon Cashflow Pro. My name is James Barber. I'm here to help you maximize your cash flow. And I am back at home. I'm in the office chair. We're in the office. We've got the green screen behind us, so everything looks fancy. And hopefully our internet is going to be solid. No more interruptions. We've got our water fixed. No issues in that regard, and I'm ready to go. So, how are you folks doing this evening? Top Gun, almost first. Good evening. Good evening. So, it has been a busy week. It has been a busy week. I hope you guys have some questions for me. I will try and make sure that my voice stays. Keep my throat properly hydrated, and we'll get some prizes thrown out here later on tonight, and hopefully we'll be able to answer some questions. I've been meeting with a whole bunch of you for the last few weeks. It's just been awesome. We've been slammed with questions about dynamic banking and infinite banking and IULs. And we've got a whole bunch of applications in the pipeline. I've been really enjoying talking with you folks. I would say one of my joys this week was I spoke with a couple who are in their mid-60s. And they are just starting dynamic banking. And I just thought that was awesome. They caught our video. They caught my video about dynamic banking, and when they called me, they had said they had already started doing it, and they were so excited about getting their mortgage paid off quickly. So that was pretty cool. Harry, how's it going? Good morning. It's your morning now, isn't it? BDN, how's it going? BDN was our big winner the last 2 weeks. So he's got a couple of shirts on the way. You'll have to let us know how those look when you get them. Yeah, so I was pretty excited. I was pretty excited to talk to those folks about dynamic banking, and they seem to have gotten a pretty good grasp of it right away, which was great. 2:05 a.m. where you're at. Oh, geez. You gonna get any sleep tonight? Some other folks I got a chance to talk with. I talked to some real estate investors. I end up talking with quite a few real estate investors. Our infinite banking plans that we design work out really good for real estate investors in particular. I mean, they're really great for any business owners. But the flexibility that some of our policies provide. Harry says, you're staying up for the VP debate. That's tonight, isn't it? I didn't even think about that. Well, I guess we're going to be competing with that. It might reduce our viewership. But I guess we'll find out. This live stream isn't always very well attended anyways. But who does come ends up bringing the questions, and I love it. So we're going to keep doing it because that's what this channel is about. This channel is about helping you guys maximize your cash flow. And if you guys got any financial questions, throw them in the comment section there. I will be checking the Discord as well while we're on here, because we do have a Discord channel now. We have a Discord server, a private one, that you too can be a part of if you become a member of our Patreon. So let me I'm going to put here in the chat the link to the Patreon. And if any of you are interested in joining our Discord server, use that link. use that link, and we would love to see you in there. We've got a few different tiers. One of them, the general tier, is for, we're getting a lot of folks from our Market Watch live streams that we've been doing. A lot of folks in there just talking about the stock market, Tesla in particular, especially. But we're doing an Apple Watch channel for the Apple event that's coming up here soon. And let me put that link in here. Patreon.com/Oregon Cash Flow Pro. All right, science didn't bring questions, but interested to learn. All right, your first wealth care. Good deal, good deal. Harry says it started 2 minutes ago. You'll try and concentrate on both. Okay, okay. Well, don't tell everybody that. They might leave our live stream here and go watch that. Remember, you can watch that one at any time. This one you can really watch at any time, but this one you can actually ask questions and they'll get answered. If you're just watching this later, you're not going to be able to ask the questions. You'll have to wait till next week to do that. So hopefully you guys will join us at this one. Be sure, hey, you guys are on the ball. You've already hit the like button. Hitting that like button gets the YouTube algorithm working and lets people know that we are in fact live right now and people can get on and ask some questions. Where was I at? Oh yeah, our Patreon. So we have 3 different levels in our Patreon. First level is it's $1 a month. Very low barrier to entry, but the idea behind that is it's going to keep out trolls. So people aren't going to be able to just get in there and flame everybody, cause chaos. And that's been very effective. Our next level is $5 a month, and that opens it up to being able to use, being able to add emojis to comments, and also opens up a couple of channels, mostly our infinite banking and our dynamic banking channels. So people that have cash flow questions, any folks who end up buying infinite banking policies, or people who are actively trying to use dynamic banking, if you want to get together with other folks that are doing the same, that's a great place to do that. And I'm also dropping videos in there too, so that you can continue to learn more about it there. Our third tier is $50 a month, and that is the special one. That is our mastermind group, cash flow mastermind group. And the goal with that one is we're going to have a small group of folks in there that are committed to growing our wealth, and we're going to help the other folks in there do that. And my hope is, it's been a little bit trying to get it up, so if you've already joined it, be patient. We're going to try and get something going later this month, but my hope is that we'll end up setting up some meetings in there that will focus on certain areas that people in that group would like to see growth in. So I have a poll pinned at the top of one of those channels for the mastermind group, asking if they're who's interested in learning about real estate, stock market, day trading, credit card rewards, dynamic banking, infinite banking, maximizing your credit, building your business credit, all kinds of different things. So we're looking, BDN joined it for testing purpose. Okay. So really what we're trying to do is we're trying to identify what is the need for people in that group, and we're going to do our best to help meet those needs. So I'm going to try and have some meetings focused on that so that we can really provide the best value that we can. And for $50 a month, it's pretty inexpensive. My hope is that you will see, what's the term? You're going to see magnitudes of return on that investment. So that is the goal. That is the goal. Now, unfortunately, if you're an insurance client of mine, I can't offer that along with a purchase of a policy, because that might be considered an inducement. So I can't just give that away, unfortunately. I would if I could, though, because everybody who's bought a policy from me that is interested in infinite banking, like, you guys are on it. You're like exactly the folks that should be in that tier 3 Patreon group, so that we can interact with each other and talk about all the great things that we're learning about how best to utilize how best to utilize those policies and maximize our wealth. And I know I've got a number of real estate investors in there too. So if you guys are listening, be sure to join us in that Patreon group. All right. So anybody got any burning questions about cash flow, real estate, finances, lines of credit, credit cards? The lines are open. All right, I'm going to check Discord real quick and make sure. I know our Discord is still in the process of growing, so we may not have anything going on in there, but it is available. Oh yeah, one of the biggest things about the Discord. With the Discord, there are voice channels, and in those voice channels, you can actually speak to me live on the live stream. So if you're interested in getting on the live stream and asking me a question that way, hop into the Discord. We still have yet to test that out, so it may be a learning experience. Okay, didn't mean to minimize that. Nobody with questions yet in there. Let's see. Top Gun says, let's go with real estate. Okay. So, I don't know if you guys know, but Top Gun is one of our wholesalers that I'm aware of. We may have more, but he does wholesaling. And I've been meaning to contact you, Top Gun, because I'm getting to a position where I'm thinking I might want to make a trip out there, and you can show me what you're doing. And then I'll be in a better position to get into one of those. So you gotta let me know what you think about that. Nicholas, good evening. So Top Gun is in the Midwest. I think that still qualifies as, yeah, that's definitely the Midwest over there. So let me know what you think about that. But I think a trip out there would be in order, so that I can get a look at the area, see what kind of houses are available. All right, you'd love to introduce me to the team. I think that would be great. And Top Gun is in our Tier 3 Patreon, and we have a special channel dedicated to real estate too. So if anyone's interested in that as well, you can get in there. Yeah, Louisville, Kentucky is where he operates. I think mostly operates. I think he does a little more than just Louisville, but that's like the main area of operations, if I understand correctly. But he's available for answering questions in there. He's got some investment opportunities where if you're not ready to, you may not be ready to buy some real estate, but maybe you would like to get a nice return on your investment. He has some financing opportunities available. Happy to serve your fellow investors. All right. Yeah, well, we'll figure out. We'll see what we can do. But I'm definitely going to plan a trip out that way. Probably, well, before the end of the year. We'll say before the end of the year. So when it comes to real estate, we got a few different options out there. You've got the opportunity to invest. You don't have to invest in your home state if, like me, your home state has really high real estate values. In my case, the return on investment is not very good. It's not very good. As far as the cash flow. We do get appreciation here in Oregon where I'm at, but it hurts the cash flow when the property values are so high. When you go to like the Midwest, you can end up finding properties that meet what we call the 1% rule, which is the rents equal 1% of how much money you have to pay to buy the property. So if you're buying the property for $100,000, the rents each month would be $1,000 or more. Some places you can find higher than that. Most places, it's a pretty good deal if you can get around that 1%. It's more like the 1% rule of thumb. if it's in a place that appreciates in value, you don't need to be up at the 1% rule for it to be a really good buy, but you might be down in like 0.9, 0.8, because you can earn in a couple of different ways. And then, of course, real estate, we've got awesome tax advantages. What's the cap rate in my area? My area is probably like 4%, 4 or 5%. It's really low, really low. What kind of cap rates do we get out there? Or what do you tend to see out there? I know some of the ones that you do, since you do it for wholesaling, I imagine the cap rates are probably a bit better than that, or a bit better than a normal retail investor might see. Oof, yeah, about 8%. Yeah, that makes a huge difference. Huge difference. I'm telling you, our cap rates here, the prices are way too high. You really, in order to find something here, I've got to do a BRRRR strategy, which is BRRRR, buy, rehab. I can't remember what these are. Buy, rehab, refinance, rent, and repeat. So you buy the property, you fix it up, then you refinance the property so you can get the money out that you spent fixing it up and buying it, and then you rent it out for some cash flow, and then you repeat that process. You take that money that you pulled out of it, and then you go do that same thing to somewhere else. So that would be what I would be looking for if I was going to invest here. But even the stuff I have to buy that needs fixed up around here it's really expensive. It's really expensive. And it just gets worse if you go down to California, or you go up to, say, Seattle, or you go up to Portland. So there's definitely some higher cost areas than where I live, but nothing around here is very attractive. So I'm definitely looking Midwest, maybe in the South. There's some good opportunities as well. There's a whole bunch of different ways to get into real estate. So whole bunch of different ways to get into real estate. And as you all know, well, maybe you all don't know, but I am a licensed real estate broker here in Oregon. But I focus on life insurance currently. I'm a licensed life insurance broker here in Oregon and across the country. I think I'm licensed in like 15 or 16 states now across the country. And that's really where my focus is on life insurance as far as my business goes. So I basically just do real estate for friends and family at the moment. And I'm contemplating not keeping my license just because I've got to put in another, before the end of this month actually. I think it's the end of this month, unless I did it last year. But every year or two I've got to do, 20 or 30 or 40 hours worth of education on that to keep my license going. And then it costs me a few $1,000 every year to keep the license too. So not much reason to keep it if I'm not actually going to be buying real estate around here. So I'm weighing my options here as to whether I want to keep it. As to whether I want to keep that license, because I don't really need the license if I'm not actively pursuing real estate here in Oregon. So things to consider. Any other burning questions, you folks out there? We've got 9 viewers, and we got 6 likes. All right, you guys are on the ball. Everybody else must be watching the debates. In fact, maybe some of you are, because not many of you are commenting. Any other topics you would like to see me cover? Any other topics? I know a while back. Hey, Robert, thank you for the tip. Much appreciated, my friend. Much appreciated. Any other topics you guys would like to see? Anything you're interested in? Anybody hurting on cash flow in any way? Top Gun doesn't see the need for a real estate license. Yeah, there really isn't one. Although I closed on a property for a friend at the beginning of this year, and then I sold one earlier this year. So, I don't know. I made like $20,000 this year with my real estate license. So it's worth it to keep it if I'm gonna keep doing a little bit here and there. But really, I just don't know if that's going to. Just don't know if I'm going to keep continuing on that. Oliver, how's it going? How's it going? So who out there is already engaged in dynamic banking? Do you guys know what dynamic banking is? Dynamic banking, I'm very excited about it. I mean, I've been excited about it since I've learned about it. But it involves using a line of credit, and the idea behind it is offset accounting and maximizing your cash flow. So if anybody is doing that, let me know in the comments. And if you don't know what I'm talking about and you need more information, let me know, because I'll tell you. But it was the whole reason I started this channel. It was the whole reason I started this channel. Oliver, what do you think about doing 0 down payment on a lease? You're about to order a Tesla soon. Want to know your thoughts. 0 down payment for 10,000 miles. Oh, the lease will allow you 10,000 miles a year? What model Tesla? What model Tesla? Because that will make a difference. And then what is... So a few things to consider when you're dealing with leases. The mileage is definitely a factor, but how much is it going to... What are they guaranteeing the value of the vehicle to be when you return it? Because that affects how much your payments are. What is your long-term plans for it? So this is partly the reason why I ask what model is, because of all the changes that are coming up. Okay, so you got a Model 3, or you're looking at the Model 3. How many years on that lease? Harry, worth having one if you can, 20K without even trying. Well, I had to do a little bit of trying. But yeah, it is dependent on me being available to help out my friends and family. Yeah, realtors do a lot of work for that commission. It's not for without even trying. But I don't spend money on advertising for it. I mean, I don't market myself. So at least the costs are minimal. Daniel, do I have an opinion on Tesla stock? Of course. I love Tesla. Love Tesla stock. Okay, Oliver, more details. 3 years, 10,000 miles, 52,000 price, long range all-wheel drive. All right, I like that. What's your payments end up being on that? And does it include any of the supercharging? I need all the details. I need all the details. I mean, we can certainly make a lot of conjectures, but when I get the details, I can really dial in. I can really dial it in. Now back to the Tesla stock briefly. We saw a big jump up. We saw a big jump up right before the end of the day. And what happened was, let me get back in here. Hang on, let me get to oh, I didn't even put the note in there. Didn't even put the note in there. Let's see. Anyway, we got a huge jump up. We got a huge jump up earlier today. Just kind of out of nowhere. And I think it puts us on track for getting to finish up really good before the end of quarter earnings, or before the earnings get announced later this month. So Oliver. Okay, $650 a month with the referral code. Okay, so referral code, I think that gives you some free supercharging, right? Zero down payment would be $650 a month. Gotcha. If you like it enough, you might decide to buy. So the things to consider with the Model 3, 2 years, 4,000 miles. Oh, that's BDN. That's not Oliver. Okay. So the things to consider is what's going to be happening with the Tesla vehicles in the next couple of years. And what we're going to be seeing is the Model 3s are going to have the new battery packs available in them. And they're going to have a lot longer range, basically. They may even get cheaper, too. So I actually really like the idea of a lease if you want to have that type of a car right now. $650 a month, obviously expensive, but I imagine you have that in your budget. I wouldn't want to spend $650 a month on a lease on just, I don't know, on just money that needs to go elsewhere, I guess you could say. But if you have it in the budget, if it's extra, you don't have any worries about your retirement, you've already got emergency funds set aside, then I don't have any problem as far as that goes. And what I do like about the lease is it does put you in a position that you can upgrade when the time comes. Because I do see a lot happening over the next few years. So you might be thinking about buying it. I'm guessing that might change at the end of your lease. And you may end up wanting to get something that has all the new technology when that comes around. Especially with what's going to happen. I mean, full self-driving is going to be available, but there's probably going to be some changes. Just consider the supercharging capabilities right now. If you bought a Model X and a Model S a few years ago, you cannot charge as fast as the Model 3s do today. The Model 3s can do like 250 kilowatt per hour, which gets you filled up a heck of a lot quicker. And I think the Model X and S's, which are a lot more expensive vehicles, but the older models can only charge, I think they're hitting like 150 kilowatt hours. So you could see some types of advances like that come the end of your lease, in which case you may want to consider upgrading at the time. So that's where I like the lease, because one, you're going to get a guaranteed value. So come the end of that lease, you can just give it back at that guaranteed value rate. Now, if for some reason your car is worth more at the end of the lease, you can sell it on your own and pocket the difference. But odds are, with all the advances that we're anticipating coming up, it will probably be worth less, and you'll be glad to have that guaranteed rate at that point. So that's my thinking. Let me see if you have any further questions as we look through these comments. So Science says, good thing they announced having the new battery packs immediately. People would have started to wait for them and not buy. That's true. That's true. They did say they were going to start putting them in. Well, they said they were going to be put in the Berlin factory. I don't know. In the things I read, they didn't say they're putting them in here in Fremont yet. I think they're still working on scaling up the production of that. So that'll definitely be something to keep an eye out for. Harry personally thinks PCPs on cars are brilliant as long as you can afford the car in cash. The interest you'd pay on a PCP can easily be made up and then some by investing the money. Is PCP, is that lease? Is that what you call leases in the UK? Carl, your pick holding that white piggy bank kind of looks like a black bra. Oh, that's funny. I didn't even think about that. I hadn't noticed. Too funny. Too funny. Oliver says, all investments looking strong. Finances are in check. A Tesla purchase would be a fun splurge. You want to try a Tesla, and if you notice a newer model, you can do a trade-in. Yep. Yeah, so I have no issues with that. Oliver says, in LA, there's an incentive. They'll give a rebate for home EV charger. All right, that's cool. Top Gun says he agrees. Harry, if you do a ton of driving but plan to buy the car at the end of the lease, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it can. It definitely can. Top Gun says mileage doesn't seem to affect the Teslas as much. Well, it does. A lot of the resale values of Tesla right now are based off of a 10,000 miles a year, basically. So whereas your typical lease, the mileage is, well, I mean, you can really dial it into whatever, but your average lease is about 12,000 miles a year. And so the resale value that they guarantee is lower. There was a couple of articles about this where people thought Tesla was fudging the numbers or something in order to get that resale value up, which allows them to have a higher price on lease returns and in turn helps their bottom line, basically. And the idea behind the article was they were thinking something funny was going on. In reality, what's happening is people are buying these, or they're leasing these cars, and when they're giving them back, what Tesla does is they throw in full self-driving, which bumps up the value of the vehicle. So they throw that in for the next person. So then they can sell the car for more than they otherwise would have. So that's what I found out in my digging as to how they're able to keep those resale values up. Now, if you're paying for full self-driving right off the bat, that obviously gets built into the lease price already. Harry, much rather have the money in an OEIC and make more gains than you'd pay in interest, when the alternative is having all the money tied into a car cash payment. What's OEIC? OEIC. Science says, yeah, not as many parts to break down. BDN says Trump's news. I'm not sure what that's in response to, though. Carl, the Osborne Effect. Yeah, the Osborne Effect is very real. It's very real. And if you don't know what that means, Google it. Or if we end up with less questions, I'll explain what it is. But it's definitely a concern anytime you have new products coming out with new features. Oliver, do you think the car warranty would be the same for a lease and a loan? Yes. Yeah, typically the warranties do not change from leases to loans. Although sometimes with a lease, they may throw in maintenance. They may throw in all the maintenance. Now with a Tesla, you don't necessarily have any maintenance or very minimal maintenance compared to a regular internal combustion car. But I have seen that as a slight difference between a lease and a loan. Oliver, wondering about battery degradation and replacement. Yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned about that, but that's again where the lease helps you out. Oh, Harry says personal contract purchase in the UK. But yeah, okay. Gotcha. Top Gun. You mean on the used Tesla market. Price 70 to 100,000. Mileage Teslas don't appear to have a major difference. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that's because a lot of the used ones you see are coming from Tesla themselves, and they throw that full self-driving in. It kind of helps make up the price difference. But at the same time, there's a lot of people that want to own a Tesla, and there ain't a whole lot that you can do to get them unless you get on the waiting list. So, okay, Harry, OEIC is an open-ended investment company. You believe they're comparable to your mutual funds. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. That makes sense. Just the first example of a sensible, safe investment you could think of that would outperform interest easily. Yep, that's true. That's true. Oliver, are you leasing or buying your Cybertruck? I will be buying my Cybertruck. I went for the top of the line because I planned on buying it. My current truck, I've had it for 14 years now. So I am a buy and hold kind of guy when it comes to my trucks. So I went with the top of the line, which is supposed to get me at least 500 miles. It's going to be the tri-motor. And if they come out with the plaid version, I'll probably go with the plaid version if that's available, because I do plan on keeping it for a long time. So for me, I will be buying it. And I tend to put a lot of miles on my trucks. Or not on my trucks necessarily, but on my vehicles. You just never know. This year is like the least I've driven because of the lockdowns. But like I bought a 2018 Hyundai Ioniq, and I put 80,000 miles on it already. And I haven't driven it very much for half of this year. So I've had it. That was about 80,000 miles I put on it in about a year and a half. Maybe almost 2 years. Almost 2 years. So yeah, I do quite a bit of driving. So leases don't tend to work out for me. Although I have leased, prior to that truck, I did lease 2 Tundras, 3 Tundras before that. and I just upgraded when I got to the end of the lease. Those were my work trucks, though. It made sense to do the leases in that case. And in fact, the Cybertruck for me will probably be a work truck, and I'll be able to write that off as well. But it should qualify for things that the Tundra didn't qualify for when it comes to business deductions. So BDN for M3 end of the lease, you have to return it, no buying option. Ah, interesting. I know Tesla does some interesting things with their lease, and that's probably because they're planning on having a fleet of auto taxis, auto driving, robo taxis. So you might have the opportunity to buy it, depending on what lease options are out there, but maybe there's some that you can't. Maybe they don't give you the option to for some. Top Gun's got the tri-motor Cybertruck on order too. Nice. Man after my own heart. Oliver, Tesla's doing trade-in now. Found out last week on their website. They give out free quotes. Yeah, I saw that too. I noticed that. Saw that they had a trade-in. I didn't click through to it, but I wonder how much they're offering for trade-ins. Top Gun says this will be your first new vehicle purchase you'll ever made. Oh, cool. Elemencer, aloha to you. Thanks for joining us. Your first vehicle will be the Cybertruck. All right. Look at this. We've got a finance. It's basically a finance channel that I'm running here, and we're talking about, maximizing our cash flow, eliminating debt pretty quick, and we're all buying $40,000 to $70,000 trucks or $50,000 cars. Definitely not what most financial advisors would be advising to do. Science, considering the truck as well, still on the fence. You're currently the only Texan on the block without a truck. Oh, that's funny. Now, you may have an issue there in Texas. I don't imagine the Cybertruck is... I don't imagine it's going to fit in with all the other trucks around there. But you will have the fastest truck on the block, that's for sure. And once it's being built there in Texas, that may change very quickly too. You can definitely say it's American made. Oliver, Tesla shareholders, about 50% will own a Tesla. I'm sure. Science says Tesla stock this year allows you to pay cash for it. Thank you, Tesla. Yeah, you've been killing it, man. You've been getting some great returns, making some nice trades. I hope to join you in that effort one of these days. Top Gun says typically abhor the numbers on a new vehicle purchase. You typically buy 7 to 10-year-old Hondas and Toyotas. I hear ya. When it comes down to it, for me, I've had really good luck buying new vehicles and holding on to them for a long time. When you break out the cost per year, it's really not so bad, but I also buy when there's major rebates. So when I bought my Tundra 14 years ago, in 2006, it was the brand new Tundra, the new big V8 that they had. I got 4-wheel drive. I got basically what they consider the base model, but it has power everything except for seats, which I don't actually like power seats anyways. So it's got power everything, and I got it for I had like a $5,000 rebate. So I picked that truck up for $22,000. You can't even get a Toyota Tacoma for $22,000 these days. Like Toyota Tacomas are like $35,000 these days. That's the smaller size. So I got a killer deal on that, and I've driven it for 14 years. So you're looking at just over $1,000 a year in costs. I've only changed the oil on it. Haven't had to do anything else to it. So really, really inexpensive when you consider the average yearly cost on buying it new. Oliver says, even though you could choose a Prius or a Kia, why not go for a Tesla? Might as well go for the leader in EV. Yep. Well, when I bought my Hyundai Ioniq, I was going between a Prius and the Hyundai. I bought the Hyundai because I didn't have enough to go for the Kia or for the Tesla at the time. Didn't have enough cash flow to go for the Tesla at the time, and I needed something that would get me way more miles. I needed to have I needed to have some internal combustion capability. So I went with a hybrid because I was doing a lot of driving back and forth to California and up to Portland and across the country, and I needed the range. So with my Hyundai Ioniq, it's like I don't know, 10 gallons, and I can go 600 miles on a tank. So really, really awesome when it comes to gas mileage. I think my cost per mile is like 6 cents, about 6 cents a mile on that vehicle. Elementor says, everybody here in Hawaii drives a Toyota of some sort. You like your Ford truck. Hey, whatever works for you. Whatever works for you. To each their own. To each their own. I never got used to the seats in the Fords. We had a Ford growing up, not a truck, but a car, and all the seats always feel the same, and I just never got a feel for those ones. Oliver, would you ever get a Model S? Probably not. Probably not. I love them. I love the looks. I love the performance of it, but I don't really need that. When I was younger, I used to drive fast and liked doing that, but these days, I get my thrills elsewhere. I'd rather put that money towards my retirement. Go do a lot of traveling. That's the plan later on. We're gonna do a lot of traveling around the world if we get the chance. Harry says he does love Tesla. You're confident it'll be your next car, but you got to say the BMW i4 does look really nice too. Yeah, the thing, cars are nice looking. I love a nice looking car. Now, for folks that would hear me say that and see that I'm getting a Cybertruck, might go, how does that work? Because the Cybertruck is kind of funky looking, but the tech on the Cybertruck is awesome. What the Cybertruck can do is going to be amazing, and I'm going to be on the inside, so I don't really care what other people are going to be thinking about it when they're looking at the outside. I don't have to look at it on the outside. I'll be on the inside enjoying the performance of it. So, Oliver, been driving your mom's 2007 Honda CR-V. Time for an upgrade. Oh, I bet. Elementor, the Toyota pedals, you don't like them on a manual transmission. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. I've never had an issue with the manuals. But back when I sold cars, I sold Toyotas. So I got used to driving all of them. I did happen to like them best. That was why I ended up working at a Toyota dealership. I chose that on purpose because I liked that brand. But yeah, never had an issue with the feel. But I hear you. I mean, if there's something about a vehicle that just feels off to you, it makes it really hard to overcome. And for me, that was what it was for the seats in the Ford for me. Harry loves the Model 3 wrapped with the main colors shown on the i4. White isn't too practical in the UK. It looks nice for a day, and that's it. I hear you. Oliver, would your Cybertruck be a business write-off? Do some streaming in it. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll definitely do some things on my channel with it so that I could write it off. Not just on my channel, but I'll use it for driving for my business as well. Advertising. I'll put some logos on it. Top Guns will be a write-off as well. Yep, absolutely. You got to do it as a write-off. Absolutely got to do it as a write-off. So, back to my earlier question. I asked about dynamic banking, and I don't remember. I think one of you answered. I think Science said that he's not doing it. Nobody else answered my question, though. Oh, size 13 shoes. Okay. I don't wear size 13 shoes. I think mine are size 9.5. So, I probably don't have the same worries that you have to. Top Gun, you can write off 100% if it's used for business. Business only, that is. Yeah. Yep. Anyway, dynamic banking. I'm definitely interested in seeing what you folks are doing to maximize your cash flow. So if you're not doing dynamic banking, what are you doing to maximize your cash flow? What happens? Do I count dynamic banking using an IBC? Sure. I mean, you can do dynamic banking using an IBC policy. You don't have to use a line of credit. It's just more efficient if you're using it with a line of credit. And I'll go over why in a second. But my question was, if you're not, how are you guys maximizing your cash flow? If you get $5,000 or you get your paycheck or you sell something, you get a commission, and you've got that money, it goes right into your bank account. What do you do with it from there? What do you do with it from there to maximize the use of those funds? That is where dynamic banking comes into play for me and why I advocate it so much. Top Gun doesn't have a line of credit yet. Okay. Yeah, if you don't have a line of credit yet, use your IBC policy. That'll be just fine. So the difference between using a line of credit and using an IBC policy is just timing. You can't get at your money quite as quickly in order to offset the interest. So with the IBC policy, it takes at least a day or two to get money into the policy, and it takes a day or two to get it out of the policy. So those are potentially 4 or more days that you're not offsetting any interest. So if I get $5,000 into my account, and if I have a bill that I have to pay in 4 days or 5 days, that's also $5,000 or less, whatever it is. I'm not going to be able to send that into the IBC in order to offset any interest. So those are 4 or 5 days of interest I could have offset by $5,000 that I can't because I don't have a line of credit that I can get it into and out of right away. So I'm really sad that I don't currently have a line of credit because I had paid off my HELOC. So now I only have my infinite banking policies, and because of that, I end up sitting on a lot more cash in my checking account than I would like to. Because it is definitely less, it's less convenient. It doesn't make it impossible though. It doesn't make it impossible. And it's definitely better than nothing. Oliver, doing stocks, 401k, job income, still trying to add more sources of cash flow. Been saving a ton, looking to continue. 3 years at your job this coming February should help. Luckily, you're still working full hours during the pandemic. That's good. Been investing as much as you could. All right. Yeah, so you adding sources of cash flow is good. Adding sources of cash flow is good. What I want to help you guys maximize is the money that goes through your hands. As it's in your hands, making the best use of it. That's where we can maximize. That most people are not maximizing the use of those funds. And any business owners, like, it's a huge, huge deal for business owners because a business owner ends up with so much more money flowing through your hands. When I had my pressure washing and window cleaning business, we would do, 300,000+ in revenue each year. And if I knew about this back then, I could have put those dollars to work. I could have put $300,000 a year to work for me offsetting interest at some point throughout the year. As it is, I didn't do that. I had it sitting in my checking account a lot of the time because there was a lot of bills that had to get paid. I could have put that money to work for me way better than I could have had I known how to maximize my cash flow. So that's what I'm trying to help you guys do. I'm trying to help you guys maximize your cash flow. It doesn't cost you anything extra. I don't charge you anything to do it. In fact, I'm working on a book right now, and the title of that book, I'll tell you guys what the title is going to be. The title is going to be 10 Rules to Maximize Your Cash Flow Without Being Frugal. So tell me what you think about that title. 10 Rules to Maximize Your Cash Flow Without Being Frugal. And I will get into everything you need to know about dynamic banking. Not just dynamic banking, but basically how to move your money efficiently. Top Gun, paid off a car. Oh, you send an extra $700 a month towards your IBC when you see a debt or investment opportunity that you can offset. You use the policy loan to capitalize the amount. Nice, nice. That's good. We've paid off a car and several student loans, as well as put aside a couple months reserve for rentals. Awesome. That's great. So you are putting it to great use. You're sending an extra $700 towards it, but obviously you get a lot more money that flows through your hands than that, and so you're definitely missing out on some offsetting of interest charges, but you're doing what you can with what you got, so that's good. Oliver, does your life insurance also include health insurance? No. No, I only do life insurance, and we don't add any bells and whistles to it. We don't want to add anything to the cost of the insurance, because the way that we design these policies, it minimizes the costs and it maximizes the ability for you to stuff money into it in order to turn it into cash value. So any bells and whistles we add onto it will up the cost and reduce your ability to add to the cash value. We're just doing this for creating basically your own line of credit, your ability to be able to access the cash whenever you need it for an investment. And when you don't need to access it, you have a safe place to store your funds as a savings asset, and you know that it has guaranteed growth. That's the idea. BDN, waiting for Tesla stock to hit 500 and then you'll sell it. All right. Well, we'll get back there eventually. Oliver, currently paying premium for PPO. What's PPO? PPO. I can't think of what PPO is. Elementor says, don't sell. Science says, if you sell, just be ready to buy it again. Top Gun loves the title. All right, cool. This was the first time I revealed the title, so your guys' feedback will be the first I get to hear about it. And I probably should get some feedback on it too, because I don't want it to be too complicated. It's got to have a hook to it. It's got to draw you in, make you want to read it. Top Gun, you're correct about the missed opportunity. You need to have another conversation. You need a massive 90-10 policy. Okay. As well as get your kiddos IULs. Yep. For sure. Oliver, what's the interest growth if you follow through with the life insurance you're showing? Good question. So typically what you can expect in a whole life policy is over the long term. So let's say 30 years down the road, you'll probably see between a 4 to 6% growth in the policy after expenses. That doesn't mean 4 to 6% period, but 4 to 6% average for each year at the end of it. So at the beginning of it, it's going to be less because you have heavier costs to overcome when it first starts. Most insurance policies, when they're designed, have zero cash value available in the first few years, which means it takes you 14 or 15 years to pass break even, sometimes longer. And a break even is when you have more cash value available in the policy than you've paid in premiums. With the 90-10 design that I do, you end up with close to 90% cash value in the first year that you can borrow against if you need access to it. And it ends up longer term with higher cash growth in the policy as well. Now, we also use mutual companies, which means you become a part owner of the company. So it's just like you're buying the stock and getting the dividends from the stock company. But in this case, it's a mutual company and you become an owner of it. And we use mutual companies that are 150 plus years old, and they've been paying dividends for that whole entire time. And they're some of the top dividend paying companies historically, and even over the last 10 to 15, 25 years, they're still at the top when you average it out, which means currently 5.65 to 6.2% is the dividends that they're paying out. Now that's before the cost of insurance, so you don't actually see that much as an actual return, but the longer you hold it, the more dividends you get paid out, and the more you overcome that cost of insurance. So they're a heck of a deal. And if you want to learn more about that, I highly recommend getting the book. It's in It's in the description of all my videos, called Becoming Your Own Banker. It's a great book to start out reading. It goes over the whole concept. We don't exactly design them the same way they design them in that book, although they don't really go over design in that book. Just know that book was like 20 years old, and they didn't have the ability to design the policies the way that we're doing now. So they basically had probably 40 to 60% cash value available in the types of policies they were designing when that book was made, and they came up with this concept. Now we're able to do up to 90% cash value in the first year. So Oliver says, Top Gun says you'd love to collaborate, give feedback with you on your book. All right, cool. If that's something you're open to, I am. So once I get started on it, I'll definitely keep you in the loop. Oliver, would the interest growth in life insurance be affected by inflation, or the state you live in, or the amount you put in, or time of holding? So interest growth is not affected by inflation, except that you want to make sure that it's growing faster than inflation. The insurance companies, it's just like any business. The insurance companies base their growth, so the profits that the insurance company earns, they get those profits by investing in other businesses. They buy bonds. They invest in they do some investing in the stock market, but mostly they invest in other businesses. They sell term insurance. Sometimes they do a whole bunch of other different things outside of insurance as well. Or they sell different types of insurances, although the companies we do mostly just focus on insurance. So when it comes to inflation, their profits are going to reflect that. I mean, inflation tends to be 2% or lower. The goal is always 2% inflation from the government, but they haven't been reaching that for the last decade. They've been struggling to get 1% inflation. So if you've got a guaranteed 4%, and over the course of 30 years, you end up with a 4 to 6% growth, you're going to beat inflation. So that would be how it's affected. But the interest growth, I don't know, interest growth is not directly affected by inflation. So is interest growth affected by the state you live in? Possibly. So there are different insurance products available for different states. New York has some much different requirements than a lot of other states do. California has some different requirements than other states do when it comes to specialty products like IULs. Sometimes the cap limits that are available or the bonuses available in some products are not available in every state. For Guardian, they have an index option, not available in every state. So that varies. So that could be affected by what state you live in. The amount you put in is definitely affected. We design these policies to be max funded. The idea is everything you put in above what the basic cost of insurance on these policies is going to go towards cash value. And everything that goes towards cash value turns into more dividends and more cash down the road, more growth down the road. So that definitely is a factor. In fact, it's probably the biggest factor. And let's see, or time of holding. Not sure what you mean or time of holding, but I would say if that means how long you've owned the policy, yes, that can be affected by it. Because the longer you own the policy, the greater your dividends get. The base premium that we pay on these policies that's built on whole life insurance, more of that base premium goes to cash value the longer you've had the product as well. BDN, question is to all. What do you guys think about paying off the Tesla M3 all-wheel drive with full self-driving? What do you mean by paying it off? What do we think of paying it off? Gonna need some more information on that question. Top Gun says leverage it as best you can. Harry says, talking about inflation, what's the name of whatever you use to measure inflation in the U.S.? What is it we use to measure inflation? Can't think of it. off the top of my head. I can't think of it. Sorry. As far as the paying off a Tesla M3 though, what is your current interest rate? Like car interest rates these days are really low. So you may have a better opportunity using those funds elsewhere. Either paying off another debt that's a higher interest rate or putting it towards cash accumulation somewhere, either with an investment or an infinite banking type policy where you have a really high savings amount. Odds are you're not going to get a 0% interest loan for a car and then get 1% growth in a savings account. You wouldn't necessarily want to do that. Because in the savings account, you're going to be paying taxes on any growth you see anyways. But it's typically not enough to be worth paying that off. But those are things that I would consider when it comes to paying off a car or not. Would you rather have equity in something else, something that's liquid and possibly growing? Or would you rather pay off the car and have your equity locked up in the car? That's something that I always take into consideration as well. Elementor, do I own any Hyliion stock? No, I do not. I did buy a call on Hyliion this week, and it has been very disappointing in its returns. I'm losing money on that one. Luckily, I only bought one, and it's not too much. So, but it is one of my poor performers this week. Let's see, Top Gun. If you can't beat the rate at which you borrow, invest. If you can't invest at a higher return than debt, then eliminate. Yeah, that's usually a good rule of thumb. Although sometimes, even if you can invest at a slightly lower rate than what your debt is, you may be better off investing it, because your investment, depending on what you're putting it in, if you get some guaranteed growth in it, it can compound. So you'll get compounding growth, and the debt that you're paying is not compounding. The interest is not compounding. So you end up in a better overall place at the end, even if it's a lower return on your investment than the debt you're trying to eliminate. BDN missed the sell-off when it was $52. Oh no, that's a bummer. Harry says it's very simple in the UK. CPI or RPI, depending on what we're measuring inflation on. Yeah, sometimes they do what's called the chained, is it the chained index? Chained CPI, something like that. Or maybe they just use the CPI. I don't know. Those sound familiar, though. Those do sound familiar. Elementor's buying more Hyliion tomorrow. BDN says the Hyliion CEO is a young and smart engineer. Yeah, I saw him in an interview the other day, and I was pretty impressed. He's like the youngest CEO out there, like 28 years old or something. Seemed like he had a good head on his shoulders. BDN, it says it's very good technology for the current rigs. I agree. I don't know why the stock price was dropping this week, though. Maybe because they haven't finished locking up the merger deal. And they haven't closed on that merger deal. So it'll be interesting to see. How that goes. Harry, how'd the debate go? It's probably still going on, actually. Oliver, have you heard of Grant Cardone? He's hit with 2 class action lawsuits. I have heard of him. I'm actually currently paying for Cardone University at $99 a month, which is actually a lot of good information, although I haven't had a chance to get back to it for a couple of months. I was hoping to just work my way through that university pretty quickly so I could not have to keep paying for it. But I do like the information that he has there. But yeah, I wouldn't invest with him. I was listening to one of my other podcasts that was talking about a lot of the fees that he charges, and that guy's a salesman. He is a good salesman, which is what Cardone University is good for, is becoming a better salesman, basically. At least that's what I'm looking at. Those are the courses I'm going through right now currently, is for the sales. But yeah, when it comes to his investment stuff, apparently I was listening to another podcast that went through his actual contracts, and it's like he gets 1% here and 1% there and 1% during the deal, and then 20% of every profits, and I mean it's just like boom, 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 boom everywhere. He's pulling money out, and so I'm sure that's along the lines of what those class action lawsuits have to do with. Although maybe not, because it's straight up in his contract that he's pulling out all those bits and pieces of profit. There's a reason he drives an expensive private jet. Elementor, you were up 70% on Hyliion. Now broke even. Time to buy. Okay. Top Gun, you should do an analysis on using an investment to pay for a Tesla. That should go in your book. Using an investment to pay for a Tesla. Tell me more. Tell me more what you think. What are you thinking along those lines? BDN, waiting for the stock to hit the 50s and then you'll sell it. Gotcha. Oliver, his interview with Jordan Belfort was pure comedy. Two salesmen going at it. I have not seen that one. I haven't seen that one. I'll have to check it out. I do. One thing I like about Grant Cardone is his energy. He brings so much energy, and it's like you can't help but listen to him and not get pumped up. So he doesn't have any podcast episodes coming out lately, but I used to listen to his podcasts. I'm still subscribed. Because I always get kind of psyched up when I listen to him. So I take what he says, a lot of what he says, with a grain of salt. But I like his approach. I like his approach to how he, I don't know, I just like how he brings the energy, and he's like focused. So I definitely, and if any of you watch my videos or you've talked to me, I'm definitely not a Grant Cardone type of salesperson. I am not. In fact, I don't like to think of myself as a salesperson in any sense, except that I think of myself more as an educator. I educate people on these products that I offer so that you can see how it would fit into your financial portfolio or with your finances. And if you see a place for that, then you'll talk to me about it. That's the approach I take. Oliver says Cardone was going into the interview to disagree everything with Belfort. Every time Belfort talked, Cardone cut him off. Oh, jeez. That's crazy. So it was like the last debate, the last presidential debate. Speaking of which, I wonder how the vice presidential debate went tonight. Maybe Harry can let us know if it was any better than the presidential debate. Or if it is any better. I think it's probably still going on. Top Gun, zero down lease or low down payment. Using a 10% interest producing asset that would offset the car payment every set number of years. Oh, I see what you're saying. I mean, those are definitely something we can do a hypothetical on. And that's a great way. That's a great way to pay for a car, too. Great way to pay for a car. Oliver says, the look on Belfort's face says it all. You should watch it when you have free time. Okay. Will do. You should put a link to it in the Discord server. Put a link to that in the Discord server. If you're still in there. I don't know if you're still in there. Demi with a question. With IUL max funding, are you following or different to the Doug Andrews funding strategies? Somebody sent me a link about the Doug Andrews videos just the other day, and I did not get a chance to watch those yet. So I don't know what his funding strategies are. If you give me an idea, I can definitely tell you. But one thing I can tell you is nobody designs an IUL better than I do. They can match it. They can design it the same, but they're not going to be able to design a better one. So if he's designing it to maximum efficiency, then I would assume that we're both kind of along the same lines. Top Gun asks, who's Doug Andrew? I think he does YouTube videos, some about IULs also. So he's another insurance salesperson. Elementor, what kind of rolling papers do you like? You're from Oregon. Yeah, but I don't smoke. I don't smoke. A lot of my friends do. A lot of my friends do. Actually, no, I can't even say that. I know a lot of people who do. Not a lot of my friends do. Some of my friends do. Some of my friends do. It's not really a topic we bring up much, actually. Top Gun says, nobody designs an IUL better than James. That's right. That's right. Ain't nobody. And if you ever set up a meeting with me, I'll show you exactly how I design it, and you can see for yourself. So I usually spend the majority of a first meeting with folks, if we're talking IULs, even if we're talking whole life, I show you exactly how we design these policies, and you probably at that point know more than 90% of the insurance agents out there, because the insurance companies do not teach you how to properly design an IUL. Most YouTube channels do not show you how to properly design an IUL. In fact, I haven't seen any YouTube channels that show you how to properly design an IUL. So I will check out Doug Andrews when I get a chance. But yeah, that's it's something that agents basically have to figure out on their own, or they have to go digging for it. Oliver, does your family watch your channel also? Some of them do. I can't get my kids to watch it. They're just not interested in finances at all. Although I have my daughter reading Becoming Your Own Banker, and as much as she doesn't like it, she's doing it because I told her I'd give her $10 if she read it. So, but even still, I can't get her to read it very quickly. And she normally reads very quickly. She's like, she's 14 now, so, or she's 13 now. She's 13 now this year. My other daughter's 14. So my 13-year-old is the one that's currently reading it because I told her I'd give her $10 to read it. And then she started reading it. It's a little above her level as far as understanding the concepts, but I want her to read it and start to kind of subconsciously get the concepts down, and then I'm going to introduce her to more parts of it. So that's my plan for getting that to work. And then I've got my extended family. My extended family does watch some of my other videos that I do. I don't know. Some of them do watch the life insurance videos, but I don't think very many of them watch it. Top Gun says, increase the incentive for her to read it and write a book report. Oh, there you go. That would be a good idea. I was thinking I would, or how she would implement it. Well, she's not quite grasping the concepts yet. So I'll have to think about that. But I do like that idea. I always hated writing book reports, though. It would probably be hard to pay her enough to write a book report. Oliver says it'll be a father and daughter business. That is my hope. My hope is that she'll want to get into something like this, because there's not many young people that are doing this that I'm aware of, and you tend to attract people around your age group. So like my channel attracts people mostly between like 30 and 45 years old, or 30 and actually more like 30 and 60 years old. But there's a lot of young people out there that could really benefit from getting in on these policies early. And so I'm thinking, if we can get her doing some videos, getting on here, sharing what she knows about it once she learns about it, it could work out pretty good. Yeah, like buying her first car. Yep. Oh, buying her first car is an incentive? No, that's not. That would be too much incentive. Oliver, she'll be the protege. She'll be ahead of the game in her age group. Exactly. Excellent observation, Top Gun says. I'm not sure who you were talking to about that, though. Let's see. All right, I think that's about it. We're all caught up in the chat. Do you guys have any other questions? We are past our hour, and I've still got some more work to do for the day. So unless there's any burning questions, let's move on to giving away our prizes. I always like to give away something in these live streams. Either one of the 2 books that are listed in the description, or anything from my Teespring store, the Teespring marketplace that's listed in my description as well. Spin the wheel, yeah. In fact, I need to see if I wonder if there's a random number generator wheel. I was thinking about that last week. That way it's a little more visually appealing than me just tapping it and the number popping up right away. Oh, look at that. Random number generator wheel. Number picker wheel. Let's see. Hey, there we go. This will work. All right, let me share this. Let me figure out how to put this on the screen. While I'm doing this, I want you guys to put in the chat. I want you to pick a number between 1 and 10. Pick a number between 1 and 10. Harry Bowman said a fly just landed on Mike Pence's head. Okay. BDN, you missed the answer to this question. What do you guys think of paying off the Tesla M3 all-wheel drive with full self-driving? Oh, it depends on what you're doing with it. What are your other options? What's your current interest rate that you're paying on that? Because that makes a difference. How many years do you have left to pay on it? Would it make sense to pay off that debt or put that money somewhere else where it can earn a higher interest rate? Do you have the opportunity to put it in something that's safe that can earn a higher interest rate? So those are questions that I would be asking. And if you've got answers, I'm happy to dig in a little bit deeper on those answers. All right, let me see if I can. Let me see if I can add this. Perfect. All right, we're going to add that. Let me fix the size of this. That's not what I meant to do. Let's do this. Wait. Right there. All right, numbers 1 through 10. Get those numbers in there. Yeah, don't do expedited shipping. Don't make me go broke offering prizes. All right, I have got it just about up on the screen. Let me crop this a little bit so that it's a little more visually appealing. Oh, never mind. Never mind, we're not going to crop it because I've already got it cropped for a different live stream. But I will expand it just a little bit. All right. That should work. Here we go. Here we go. All right, everybody should be able to see the wheel. I need to go to that screen now, and we're going to spin the wheel. So I'm going to give you guys 30 more seconds. 30 more seconds, and then we'll spin the wheel. So get your numbers in there. BDSN, yeah, we do. We should have a session. Sign up for the 20-minute free session at calendly.com. Here, I'm going to put a link in here. calendly.com/cashflowpro. I'll put it in after I spin the wheel. All right, time's up on the wheel. Let's do spin. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, spin. Okay, this is a long spin. I didn't think it was going to take that long. 3. 3 is our winner. Oh, look at that. You get sounds and confetti. Science. Science for the win. Look at that. This is your first WealthCare live stream and you win. I love it. Love it. All right, so did you catch how to It's a new car. You know what? I should do a t-shirt that says that on it. That way you can get a t-shirt that says that if you actually win the prize. That would be funny. So check out the links. Here's how it works to claim your prize. Check out the links for the books and the Teespring store. You can pick one of anything in either of those. So you can pick a book or you can pick an item in the Teespring store. Buy it. So that way it gets mailed directly to you. I don't want it to come to me first. You buy it. I will reimburse you for the cost of the item plus the shipping. So all you got to do is just send me the receipt. Email me the receipt. You're in Patreon. You could put it in. You could put it in the Discord server too. You could private message me in the Discord server. That's another place to send the receipt. But you send me that receipt, and if you have PayPal, I can reimburse you immediately upon getting that receipt. So congratulations. Yeah, toy car maybe. Congratulations on that win. Let me go back to our regular view. All right. So if you got that, I am going to, who is shipping? Oh, well, if it's the books, Amazon ships it. And if it's the Teespring store, then Teespring ships it. So you got t-shirts last time, and Teespring is shipping it. I don't know what carrier they use. Maybe Top Gun knows. He's already gotten a couple of sweatshirts from them from winning in here. So he might be able to tell you who does the actual shipping. But I'm not sure who it is. But I do need to put some new shirts on there. I do need to create some new shirts. I need to do some Tesla shirts in there for a marketplace. So we need to come up with some sayings. Some nice slogans to put on a shirt in there. Top Gun. Oh, it comes through the post office. Okay. BDN. Yeah, you're still waiting. Yeah, it takes it takes a couple of weeks, I think. Takes a couple of weeks. Tesla shirts. Okay. Yeah, we'll design some Tesla shirts. I know somebody was talking about coming up with some quotes from Elon and putting those on a shirt. That would be cool. All right, Elementor, have a good night, you two. Aloha. I made my first trip out to Hawaii a couple of years ago. Actually, it was my only trip out to Hawaii a couple of years ago. Hope to get back out there, though, after the pandemic, because it was a great trip. Really enjoyed some snorkeling there. Good night. All right, I'm going to let you guys go. You became a first-time millionaire on your split day Tesla show. Nice. Congratulations. All right, well, we're going to close up shop for tonight. I will see some of you guys bright and early when we do our live stream tomorrow morning as the market opens. We've been really enjoying that, having some good conversations there. And next week, we do this every week, every Wednesday evening. So if you guys have any questions, if you have any financial questions that come up, send them my way. If you want, you can leave a voicemail message that I can actually play on this. I haven't had any voicemail messages in a couple weeks. But you can do that on my website, OregonCashflowPro.com. If you go there, the top post allows you to leave a voicemail message. Or you can figure out how to do it live in the Discord server. Oh, you know what? I didn't check the Discord server after I checked it earlier. And nobody's still in the live chat. Okay. I didn't miss anybody, so that's good. Oliver, if Elon messaged you, what questions would you ask him? I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm not really a fanboy on anybody, so I just kind of, what would I ask him? I mean, it's not like I would get giddy and like, ooh, I can ask him a bunch of questions. No, well, I have no idea what I would ask him. I would have to think about that. I would have to think about that. Good night, BDN. Good night, Demi. See you next week, Top Gun. I didn't go to Maui. Did I go to Maui? Maybe I went to Maui. I don't remember which one we went to. My wife went to Kauai on a girls' trip. I think it was Maui. I think we did go to Maui. Is that the one? There's a on the north side of the island. There's a blowhole that we drove up to. Real windy road. Real windy road that we got to. I think it was Maui. BDN. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you. Glad you enjoyed it. Oliver, look forward to it as well. Look forward to it as well. I think, I wonder if it gaps up tonight. I'm thinking it'll gap up tonight. It's been gapping up every day. With the way it ended today, I'd be surprised if it doesn't gap up again tonight. So I think that's how we break through 430. All right. Well, I am out of here. I will see you guys tomorrow. And we'll catch you next week. In the meantime, go maximize your cash flow.